Hello, I'm Bill Peterson, Minnesota estate planning attorney. When a person is informed by their medical professional that he or she is going to die soon, one of the major issues that person has to face is how to handle their bank accounts, retirement plans, real estate, and other assets. Receiving this bad news can cause some very high emotions for the family. The well-intentioned but sometimes misguided advice from relatives can cause the dying person to make some very bad decisions. Let me tell you a story about a case we had here in Minnesota. We recently had a client whose mother we will call Audrey. Audrey was told by her doctor that she had inoperable lung cancer. After the immediate shock wore off, Audrey began to worry about her children's futures. She wanted to be sure that her children received as much of her possessions as possible. Audrey's brother-in-law suggested that she should liquidate all of her assets and distribute the proceeds to her children while she was still alive. The brother-in-law told her that she should avoid probate at all costs. On that advice, Audrey promptly cashed out her 401k program at work and gave away the proceeds to her 4 children. She gave the deed to her $300,000 homestead in Eagan to her children. Audrey then went to the bank and listed her son Ralph as joint owner on her 2 bank accounts and mutual fund totaling about $80,000. Ralph promised Audrey that he would divide the accounts 4 ways between himself and his 3 sisters. Shortly after that, Audrey passed away, feeling that she had successfully taken care of her children and had avoided probate. Well, it is true that Audrey had avoided probate. On the other hand, the cost to her family for the things she had done was unfortunately enormous. For starters, her decision to cash out her 401k at work created immediate tax penalties on the proceeds. Audrey owned her home outright, so the house worth $300,000 was a gift she gave to her children, and this created a large gift tax of approximately $37,000 since it had occurred during her lifetime. If the home had been transferred by probate after her death, it is most likely that the family would not have incurred any taxes. It turns out that Ralph had a number of creditors who seized most of the 2 bank accounts and a large part of the $80,000 mutual fund that she had given him. After Ralph's creditors took their shares, Audrey's children got very little of those investments. When Audrey's oldest daughter, who we will call Anne, came to see me, there was far less remaining in Audrey's estate for us to work with than we would have had if Audrey had planned properly. This was a very sad realization for the family. Let's go back to when Audrey was first diagnosed with a terminal condition. If she had consulted with an experienced estate planning attorney, here's what could have happened. A trust or a will would be created, which would set forth a roadmap of how Audrey's assets would be divided and who would administer her estate after she passed. For example, by using a trust, even Ralph's share of the estate could be protected from the hands of his creditors. A plan could be made so that her home in Eagan would pass directly to her children and most likely with no tax consequences. Her investments could be protected as well. A 401k distribution could be made in such a way that the taxes and penalties she incurred could most likely be avoided. What's more, in most cases, a 401k can be rolled over so that the taxes can be further deferred and the 401k could be stretched to provide a retirement plan for Audrey's children. The bank accounts could be preserved for the benefit of the children using, for example, a payable on death provision. Obviously, each estate plan is unique, and the results can vary depending on the circumstances. However, the message is clear. If you or someone you love is faced with end-of-life decisions involving their assets, it's a good idea to speak with an experienced estate planning attorney. That way you can be sure that your wishes are carried out while maximizing the amount of the estate. I'm Bill Peterson, Minnesota estate planning attorney. If you would like to protect your estate for your loved ones after you pass away, I can help. Call me at 952-921-5818 for a free, no-obligation consultation. Thank you, and have a good day.